Okay, so my name is Tyra, and I am just on my own personal journey of healing from COVID-19. Um, just doing my best to figure out what I need to do to ensure that I completely heal from having had this virus, because it's proving to not be the flu, trust me. And everyone has a different experience. That's one thing that's very common. One thing that we're realizing is very um, consistent is how inconsistent people's experience with this is. So, for instance, if people get the flu, typically there's a path that we know that person will follow. I've actually had the flu a couple of times in my life. I remember as a little girl and maybe twice as an adult, I've had the flu. And pretty much it was the same. Is very fast onset of um, symptoms. And then, you feel like crap. I felt like crap for a few days, just sleep, 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 high fever, and then I started feeling better, and it typically would take at least a week or two for me to get back to normal, but it was a pretty consistent, I'm feeling better, 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 right? The last time I had the flu, I actually took Tamiflu, and though it arrested the flu from getting worse than what it was, it didn't take away the recovery time. That was mind blowing for me. um, And so COVID is different. Like, there are people, whole families get it, and they'll say each one had a different experience with it. And I would say that that's what happened with my family. We got it, and it was a little bit different. My husband and I were very similar, um, but for the most part, it has manifested differently. The how we feel afterwards is different. And so, what's making me make this video today is I'm the only one who's experiencing this particular part of it. So, um, just to backtrack, December 31st is when I said something's wrong. I could not function. All I could do is sleep. Let me not say I couldn't function. I didn't know I had COVID because I had been taking the precautions, hadn't been in any social groups, social settings, anything. I had gone into where I work to make a video, and there were two other people there, but we kept our mask on, and we weren't there together very long either. But then once I realized that I had COVID, which was down the road from that first day, I remembered I had gone to two doctor's appointments. That was the only thing I had done differently because I got sick in December. I had been following all the protocols, but the one thing I did differently was I went to two doctor's offices that let people wait in the waiting room. And so, yeah, I think that's where I got it from. So, December 31st, I didn't know I had COVID. I just thought I had a horrible cold. I had been stressed, end of the year stuff. And so I just thought maybe I ran myself down. Um, the symptoms that I feel the most was this ungrounded feeling. I thought I had taken too much cold medicine at one point because I was taking all kinds of cold and flu medication. Um, Also, I remember feeling very cold, but I never had a fever. Um, but I would just remember just constantly feeling cold, and then uh, a headache that was like no other. I never really had a cough, and that's one of the reasons I started making videos. Or posts. The first where I've made posts is on my Facebook page, but I decided to put this video here on my YouTube channel just because I don't want to sound like a complainer on my Facebook page. But anywho, I remember maybe there was one day where I got a bad cough and I took a lot of medicine, but I never had a serious cough, never had a fever. um, Complete and utter exhaustion and fatigue and mental scrambling, which is part of the reason why I just never even considered getting tested. But another member of my family tested positive. And so I was like, oh my God. Because by that time, two other family members were sick. And so I did not get tested until day, let me see here, maybe 13, because I did not think I had COVID. There was no reason for me to believe I had it. Now I knew something was wrong. I remember there was a time when I had a little bit of a shortness of breath, but a year earlier I had this weird sickness and I had had shortness of breath. It took me about 2 weeks to get over it. And I remember them talking about COVID in China, but I had no reason to think that I had been exposed to anybody. I live in Tennessee, and it was December. So there was no talk of COVID in the United States publicly. I know now looking back at it, maybe there were people coming in, but it was on the West Coast, if I remember correctly. Maybe some in California. I mean, New York too. But anywho, I just remembered thinking, man, it feels like I had COVID already. Um, and so when I had the shortness of breath, I actually wasn't even shocked because I had shortness of breath the year before. And, that was for the United States pre COVID. And it wasn't huge. And I just remember thinking, I just don't feel well. Like, even though I wasn't in the throes after, let's see here, December 31st, I remember on January the 6th, the day of the what happened in the United States. Um, I could not open my eyes. All I could do is listen to what was happening. The fatigue and the exhaustion was so overwhelming. I could not even open my eyes. Also, I'm a creative. I have another YouTube channel that is my main channel. And so, as a creative, we thrive on being able to just turn on our muse and get a download. I could not get creative. It felt like almost like I felt like I was an empty shell. And that was the day I finally just said, I give up. I'm going to sleep in and it's over. Oh, upset stomach. Part of the reason I can remember all of my symptoms is because I'm having them now. And today is February the 4th. Um, so January the 10th is when I got my younger son tested, and because he wasn't feeling well. And I knew if I got him tested, we would know for sure because it was my husband and I before who um, had not felt well. He was the last one here. And so it was actually my older son who got tested away from us, and he found out he had it. And so that's how we actually all figured out we had it. So that same day, I got my younger son tested. And then that was a Sunday. And then on Tuesday, um, my husband and I went and got tested, and we both, of course, tested positive because we were in the throes of it. And so by about January the 21st, I felt 100%. And I was like, whoa, I never want to ever go through that again. Whenever I can get that shot, I want it. And I was actually sort of nervous, to be honest with you, about getting it because I was like, whoa, the fatigue is one of the things that just like, oh, I don't like that. Anywho, I'm whenever I can get it, I'm gonna get the shot, the vaccination. So and part of my yawning, but that's one of the things we experience with COVID. You're just tired. Not everybody, but some of us. And so, um, Yes, January 21st, 22nd, I remember thinking, I'm finally symptom free. Oh, another one from my first run with this was I thought I was smelling bleach, and it never crossed my mind that because they say you lose your sense of smell and taste. Well, I didn't lose my sense of smell in my mind. I thought, I don't know why I'm just smelling bleach. It just seemed like it was bleach. Everywhere I went, it was this weird smell. And I was just like, I can't figure this out. But of course, I had mental scramble going on. So, and my tongue felt funny, but I had been taking lots of zinc lozenges and everything. And so I just thought my tongue had like gotten sensitive because I was taking so much of the zinc. And so, yeah, I had full blown COVID symptoms, but there was no real cough, no fever. And in my mind, I did not lose my sense of taste and smell. Um, and so January 21st is when I was like, my energy is back and I feel like I'm back to myself. Like I felt like me again. And so January 31st, 1 month to the day, I started feeling like I had this ungrounded feeling. And I said, this is exactly how I felt when I first started feeling sick with COVID the first time, though I didn't know I had COVID. So I had this ungrounded feeling. That was Sunday, the 31st. On Monday, I could not do anything but sleep. I had this horrible headache, and my stomach ache was horrendous. Horrible stomach ache. That was a day that, now, this, at both times, COVID has been able to make me question what it really is because I have been dealing with perimenopausal symptoms. And so some of the fatigue that we experience in COVID, women with who are in perimenopause may experience that, even though I haven't experienced it in a long time because I'm so much further down the path. Um, but it's not surprising to me if I have a day of low energy. But oh, another thing is since I've been perimenopausal, I'm very sensitive to stuff that I've never been sensitive to before. And there's certain foods, natural foods, I cannot eat. And so I didn't know both times if it was something that I was eating, the supplement that I was taking, that was wiping me out. Because that's how I feel. I feel wiped out if I eat something that my body is like, no, you cannot eat that. And so this time around, I was like, well, maybe it's because of this peppermint I've been taking. The peppermint is invigorating me. And then I had eaten some blueberries, frozen blueberries. And I didn't know because it's foods that are highly pigmented, like red bell peppers, cranberries, beets. I cannot eat any of those foods. And so I was like, huh, I wonder if it's the blueberries, even though I've been eating blueberries. Like the first time I had COVID, I ate blueberries almost every day because they were frozen. They made my stomach feel okay. Well, I didn't know if it was that. So I skipped the peppermint and the blueberries on Tuesday. And I was like, I think I'm feeling better in terms of my energy. But I was like, my stomach is very upset. And there's this feeling, this ungrounded feeling. I can't describe how it feels other than um, maybe if I was like up high somewhere and there's a lot of wind and I don't have a lot of protection from it. It's very hard to describe, but it feels like I'm just being knocked around and it comes in waves and like my ears were ringing. Um, very, very nauseous stomach. And so I don't know. I just started sort of accepting. I think I'm having a COVID relapse. But Tuesday, I was like, I need to accept this may be a COVID flare up, which I was not expecting. I really did think I was past it. Wednesday, I knew take it easy. I did try my blueberries again and lost my energy. Today is Thursday. I've eaten no blueberries. I will probably never put another blueberry in my mouth for as long as I live, and I'm only 50. Oh my gosh. Um, but, I've been much better today because the thing with COVID is rest. So I'm arrested most of Wednesday, just saying to myself, it's back. And today, Thursday, I wake up and I have a decreased sense of taste. And again, stomach highly, highly upset. And see, I've had upset stomach. Like even when I was a little girl, you can ask my mom. If I said I had a problem, I would say, "Oh, my stomach is upset." I've always just sort of like had this thing, and I think it's nervous stomach. So that was another way that COVID sort of tricked me. But because this is my second go round, which I'm seeing it as a relapse, this is not me having gotten another strain of COVID. Um, this is a relapse because it's only been 10 freaking days that I felt like, oh, I'm back to myself. I don't have another strain of COVID. No, it's the same strain in some kind of way. This COVID reactivated itself in me. Thank goodness it has not done that for my husband or my sons. Um, so, yeah, I'm back to having, I'll say it's decreased taste, a decreased taste, maybe a decreased sense of smell. They're not completely gone, but definitely I feel it on my palate. Um, and so I'm not gonna lie, I have had to sit and ask myself, this is such a new virus that is in some ways predictable. It's highly contagious. um, and, we know some of the symptoms that it will have, but we don't know a lot just because we are the first wave of people to get it. Um, and so I've just been like, wow, what is this really? And can I just take my blessings from it? I tell people I have been called Pollyanna my whole life. I will always reframe my situation. Um, so for me, I look at COVID as an opportunity to slow down. I have workaholic tendencies um, that I feel don't really give me the productivity that I think they're giving me. They probably stem from self worth and self value issues. And I just feel like the harder I work, then I will appear to people to be worthy and valuable. Um, but, and so COVID, the more I rested, the more I was like, I mean, I felt like crap. But I just kept saying to myself, I should have taken some time off. I should not work 365. I should take time off, like for real. Just whether I have a vacation or not, I should take time off. And so, yeah, COVID is giving me that opportunity just to really understand that. Um, and to reset me so that I can actually change to maybe have more productive ways of operating. Um, because once I came back from the first round with COVID, I was like, it was like it erased who I was. I didn't even know who I was. I was like, what did I used to do? I was so busy before COVID, coming back from COVID. I'm not sure what was I doing before? So I've just been more of like a turtle, a tortoise since this. And so um my stomach hurts right now. That's why I'm sounding this way. But this second time around, it's making me like, oh my God, I always want to be healthy and self sufficient. And, I do not want something bad to happen to me. And my kids are like having to decide what are we going to do for her because she can't function for herself or whatever. It has made me really meet my mortality. Like, am I going to live much longer than where I am? Like, what does this really mean? Um, my goal is to begin to do, well, I do energy work. So that actually helps me a lot, which is working with my meridians and my chakras. And I've been taking a lot of the supplements that a lot of people talk about. Everybody talks about the zinc and the vitamin C. Oil of oregano has turned out to be one of my favorites. And just continuing to do deep healing. Oh, mindfulness is the other thing because it's got me terrified about being in my brain, or I don't know if it's in my brain. I don't understand it. Nobody understands it yet fully. But this is something that I am committed to doing for myself. And the second time around with COVID, I'm like, oh, you said don't be a workaholic. Okay, COVID. Okay, COVID. I got you. No workaholism for me anymore. Yeah, I can be productive, but I've got to find other things to do. Well, I'm gonna get off now because I really feel nauseated. But I will come back and make more videos as time goes on. And anybody who has COVID and you have long-term lingering symptoms, you are not crazy. I feel bad for anybody who can't take time off to heal because at least I'm at home. I don't have to leave the house to go and work or anything. Um, and there's a lot of people who are in my position where they don't have that option. And I feel like, oh, this is something else. I live in Tennessee where the government doesn't want to um, enforce mass mandates. It really doesn't want, it's really a political situation versus mature adults in the room who are like, you know what? We've got a crisis going on. We need to do something about it. And yeah, we know people are going to be complaining, but they'll get over it. No, that's not happening here in Tennessee. And, when I'm out and about, now before I had COVID, I would be so pissed when I would see people with no mask on. Since having COVID, rage, literal rage when I see people. Because I am such a nice person. That's the only reason I don't yell and cuss. Because in my mind, I'm yelling and cussing. But what it made me think about is I was thinking about how I feel like people with COVID, especially when we have long-term lingering symptoms, look like whiners when really I feel like it's an opportunity for people to show them compassion. And I just feel like this COVID is another way of giving us a lesson on the importance of compassion. And I was reading about it as I am pondering on this, and it talked about compassion involves action. And so, yeah, if you watch this video and you have not had COVID, have compassion. Take some type of action for somebody who has had COVID, who's like me, having a relapse. I feel like my husband has been able to be compassionate towards me because he had COVID. But see, before everyone, I was the first one. Before, people didn't understand what was going on. Um, but then once everybody else got sick, then they were like, oh, okay. Um, and so I was able to have a lot of compassion for them because I had already, I was the first one to have it. So I was always a little bit further down the road. And so the second time around, it's like, and it's not the second time around, it's a relapse. I'm just having my second experience. It's just like a mini COVID experience. I guess it's not many. Shoots. Started Sunday and this is Thursday. I just get so mad at all of the loss. Okay, I should not call it lost time and productivity because that's my problem, but I just get so mad. I haven't been able to exercise and I just, it's just, it makes me sad because I'm an active person, but I'll look at it as an opportunity instead of feeling sorry for myself. And I'm going to look at it as an opportunity to do a deeper level of healing on myself. So, all right. Thanks for watching, anybody who's out there. Peace and love.